So are we thinking how big of a rebuild in the summer? How many personnel?
For me, they need at least 4 or 5 players, definitely. Yeah.
How many midfielders?
They will need probably 3. Yeah, 3, because they have some very interesting young players, and they're going step by step. But some, you know, regular players in midfield, Fabinho, even Anderson, they are not at the same. They are not the same player they used to. They are not able to play every single 3 days. They need to rest sometimes, you know, to get freshness. And so they need competition as well.
With the way it's going, they might not play every 3 days.
And definitely at the back, especially the right back with Trent Alexander-Arnold. To be honest, he lost his position with the national team. I'm not surprised about it. There's so many better right back in England before him. And if you put competition on his position, he's going to lose it again as well. Because he's not keeping himself at the high standards, you know, in terms of motivation.
Why do you think Trent has lost it? More exposed defensively, at least.
Trent Alexander-Arnold is very good when he plays in in a team who can dominate his opponent all the time. But when his team is not the same and they're suffering defensively, you can see the weakness of Trent Alexander-Arnold as a defender. But for me, look at Van Dijk. Van Dijk, for me, was the best central defender 2 or 3 years ago. After he got injured, and since in the injuries, he's not the same players anymore. He's not the rock in the defense. He's not the leader of the defense. He's not giving the same security and guarantee defensively. Before that, you cannot dribble him. It was impossible to pass him. Now, even the worst striker in the Premier League, you know, he's always, you know, running back, always, always, always. Before that, he stopped, you know, in front of you as a rock.
You can probably score past him with your knee, even.
No, come on.
Well, with the situation that's going on at the moment, but I mean, it's where do these, Liverpool in particular, as well as Chelsea, with the rebuild for Liverpool, are we looking at, okay, next season they're going to bounce back straight away? Are we looking at a slightly slower comeback, maybe 2-3 years sort of progress for Liverpool to fight back again at the top of the Premier League? I
agree with Gary. I think he will stick with the way he wants his team to play, you know, with full energy, you know. The gegenpressure, you know what it means?
Yeah.
When you lose the ball, you need to put pressure on the opponents in their own half all the time and try to put energy, try to overcome, you know, your opponents.
Do you think they'll fight for the Premier League next season? That quickly?
They've been doing that for 4 or 5 years, you know. They've been the best team with City for 4 years, so that cannot disappear like this in one season.
Yeah. I think it can turn around very quickly. And, you know, if I look back a few seasons ago, Chelsea won the Premier League. The next year, I think they finished 10th. And then the following season, they won it again. So there you go. There's an example that, you know, teams can bounce back quite quickly. And of course, Liverpool are capable of doing that, but I think it's very dependent upon who they manage to bring in the summer. And who they manage to bring in is very much dependent upon whether they're playing Champions League football next season. And it's looking less and less likely that Liverpool will be playing Champions League next season.
It's not just who they bring in, I guess. So welcoming people back from injuries. Luis Diaz will be returning to the squad soon. So that's a big boost.
Yes, definitely. They have a very interesting player up front. And I know that they are targeting as well very good players, just like Bellingham, for example.
Yeah.
But there is other players. You know, Liverpool is such a great club with great history, you know. And when you look what they've done for the last couple of years, if I am interesting about Liverpool actually as a player, I would be very honoured, you know, and very interesting to join them.
Even without Champions League football?
Yes, because it's a huge club, Liverpool. And with a huge history, so you can have 1 year transition, but big clubs never die.